Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Here we are today with Game 2 of our Best of 3 series in the 2v2 tournament, King of the Tomb Invitational. So let's go ahead and take a look. Myself and Lore Master of Sotek here, going to be taking the Empire and the Lizardmen up against an alliance of Elves. We've got Dark Elves and Wood Elves arrayed against us. So let's go ahead and take a look at the army composition. Starting with myself here, no memes today. We've gone fairly straightforward with the, Empire support build. We've got Boris Todbringer on a horse here. I figured we were going to be facing a lot of missile play up against the Wood Elves and Dark Elves. So we've got Boris here. He's got sword and board, so he's got a missile block chance. Also has the regeneration. We've also got both the area of effect debuffs, just to make him a little bit more useful in that way. To help support Sotek's front line here, we've got 5 units of spearmen with shields, relatively cost-effective, low-tier anti-large troops. We've also got plenty of mobility, as you would expect for an Empire support 2v2 build. We've got 2 Reichsguard here, one of which is the Zentler's Reichsguard, another Reichsguard here. Royal Orthografites in the sweeper position. And now here, 5 units of Pistoliers. Yes, indeed. So I figured, Dark Elves can bring a lot of armor, but, typically it's melee-centric. It's armored infantry or, Cold One Knights, things like that. Sotek has the melee power to deal with them, so I figured these Pistoliers would mostly be used against light armor targets. They do have reasonable AP. Their tooltip says weak against armor, but they're actually not that bad against armor anymore, being that they have 2 AP per shot and 2 shots per volley. They can dish out a decent amount of volume of fire of non-armor piercing missile fire, although armored targets will still take damage just because of the high volume of fire there. And that's it for the Empire build, relatively straightforward. Oh, of course, Gandalf, the Grey Wizard here, as you saw from the beginning, he's got Penumbral Pendulum, Enfeebling Foe, and Melkos Mystifying Miasma. So for Sotek's build here, he's got Lord Mazdamundi up on the palanquin here. Yes, indeed, Jabba floating on his throne. Definitely going to be very scary. The reason that we brought him in this particular guise is that he has high base missile resistance, and with the Sunburst standard it brings him up even more to 52% missile resistance in total. Makes him much more resilient against missile fire, which again we expected a lot of here. Also got Nets of Amantok, Curse of the Midnight Wind, Apotheosis, and Arcane Unforging, as well as, of course, the Banishment and Ruination of Cities area of effect spells. So definitely looking to put down a lot of pain there. And yeah, just lots of different utility spells. Frontline, we've got 1 ranked up unit of Temple Guard to help protect Mazdamundi. They're up to rank 6, giving them 36 melee attack and 56 melee defense, which is just incredible. We've also got 4 units of Saurus Warriors with shields, or sorry, 3 units of Saurus Warriors with shields. We've got 4 skink cohorts with javelins for some nice missile support. They also, they've got sword and board beyond the javelins, and okay-ish combat stats. Not the best, but decent for a low-tier infantry. We've also got the Chameleon Skinks, 2 units of those out to screen any additional missile cav. We've got a Saurus Scarvet here for that heroic anti-large armor piercing, Skink Chief for an additional charge of cold blood, and that poison missile just on the ground this time. Looking very, very cool. I believe that's pretty much it. May have missed a thing or two here or there, but I think that's mostly it for our build. Let's go ahead and move to the Elves here. We've got 4 units of Dark Riders with the repeater crossbows for the Dark Elves. Looks like 3 Lizard Limos, 1 unit of Black Guard, and a second here with 2 Cold One Knights. The Lord is going to be a Dreadlord sword and crossbow, so looking for maximum missile play here. We've also got a Shadow Sorceress with just Melkos Mystifying Miasma, so no Enfeebling Foe or Penumbral Pendulum here. Man, those Dark Elf horses sure don't look very healthy. Somebody get that guy some oats, man. Anyway, we've got the Wood Elves here next. Their build is going to be led by Orion here. They've got 2 units of Way Watchers, looks like some Azrai Spear, 2 of them. We've got 3 units of Dryads, a Sword Dancer, Branch Wraith for that healing, also another Melkos, and looks like some area of effect stuff as well. The damage, plus 5 melee attack of the Call of the Woods there, and let's see, other Trickster's Shard, minus 22% magic resistance, which is very interesting. If you think about this in relation to the Shield of the Old One's ability, you could potentially use this to help counter some of the effect of that. Now granted, it's not going to completely counter the entire effect of that, but let's say that Sotek drops a banishment in the front line and then pops Shield of the Old Ones to mitigate the damage to our troops. If the Branch Wraith is nearby, that mitigation is going to be lessened. I mean, it'll still be active, but 22% versus, I believe, Shield of the Old Ones is 44%. We'll go ahead and kick the battle into full gear as we check on that briefly, but an interesting bit of counterplay there. Would not have thought to bring that item, certainly, but a nice, interesting counterplay there. If I can find the tooltip for Shield of the Old Ones here. Oh yeah, 44%. So it does half the amount of mitigation that you're getting from Shield of the Old Ones, and makes casting that frontline banishment much riskier. Over here you can see we've navigated the Pistoliers on the far side of this kind of hillock here. We're going to be using the terrain to help screen out our opponent's forces as much as possible, since they've deployed kind of in this flat open area here, and we've deployed, you know, on the other side of the map. We're going to immediately move to try and seize this high ground and then attack from a position of strength across a narrower front here. You can see this area is impassable, meaning we're able to use the Pistoliers to effectively screen out this whole side. Because I have such a wide line of Pistoliers, 5 Pistoliers is a serious missile line, they're able to put down quite a high volume of fire and just keep this entire space occupied, more or less. It's going to be very effective for us. You can see the Dark Riders going on a little bit of a goose chase, kind of far away from the battle. Probably should be a little bit closer, but just looking for an opening. We have all these cheap spears and missiles to kind of screen them out, so if they try and get on the back line, the only really good targets for them to shoot at would be like Mazdamundi himself, although he does have that missile resistance, and any of the Empire heavy cavalry as well would be very good targets for them to shoot at. But over here on the far side, you can see a little bit of misplay by the Dark Elf player. I believe it's the Gobbo King, letting his caster get caught out here. Does an upgraded Melkos Mystifying Miasma, but still, this Shadow Sorceress is just taking such an obscene volume of fire here. She is able to fell that one Pistolier, but there's just so many Pistoliers riding around here that she's going to take way too much damage. You can see Gobbo King looks like going to be pulling her back away. But the Dreadlord is also kind of a little bit exposed here. Honestly, these 2 Sisters of Thorn, which I failed to mention earlier, need to get over here and start screening out these Pistoliers. With that physical resistance and the self-buffing with the Shield of Thorns, they're one of the few units that could effectively screen out those Pistoliers. I'm going to get some great volleys in on that Dreadlord. As the mainline engagement gets underway, you can see these Cold One Chariots getting a nice job scything straight through that front line and getting into the units of Skinks here. They were able to do quite a bit of shock damage to those Chameleon Skinks and a little bit to the Saurus Warriors, but unfortunately the follow-up attack, with all these formations disrupted, they could have potentially got full-on rear charges with these Dryads here, which would have been a very favorable engagement on these Saurus, but unfortunately the follow-up just not quite there. Now it looks like the Wood Elf force is going to be following up, and we've got the 2 Blackguard in support as well. Honestly, though, like I said, the Blackguard, besides the Empire, the Reichsguard and the Demigryph Knights, they're not really going to have that many good targets because we've just gone with a very wide infantry build. You can see over on the far side, the Sisters of Thorn are skirmishing pretty effectively, but this is the thing about bringing such a wide Pistolier line, is even if I get one unit routed off or lose some unit models, I still have so many Pistoliers that were able to effectively control that space. Meanwhile, mainline engagements going down, Curse of Midnight Wind tearing off what little armor these War Dancers do have, and going to be dropping a Penumbral Pendulum straight down the line. I failed to catch earlier. Mazdamundi got a great Ruination of Cities that took this War Dancer down to half health, and then the Penumbral Pendulum just finished him off. It also did a lot of damage to a lot of these other units here. You can see Empire Cav charging down the hill. Fortunately, there are some War Dancers in this pocket, so it's not going to be the best engagement for me. We did get another unit of Reichsguard down and through. This Shadow Sorcerer, the Branch Wraith is a little bit caught up here. Sisters of Thorn charging uphill into Reichsguard aren't going to do the most damage at the end of the day. They will do a little bit, but Orion also coming in here, of course. He has heavy armor piercing weapon damage, so he will be able to do some serious hurt there. Getting a little bit caught up with my Pistoliers on the Sisters of Thorn is not exactly what I want, but again, I'm just trying to occupy this whole space and keeping any of these units from making a meaningful impact on the mainline engagement. You can see a banishment going down, another Penumbral Pendulum as well, so just torrents and torrents of magic being unleashed upon our foes here. Shield of the Old Ones popping up. Unfortunately, that Branch Wraith is not in a position appropriately to counter. You can see over here a lot of those Wood Elf infantry are crumbling. That being said, a lot of skinks have been dealt with relatively well. One unit of Saurus looks like routed off as well by those Temple Guard. You can see the Cold One Knights now being activated, coming in, getting a hold of these skinks relatively well. They'll obviously do a lot of damage. Chameleon skinks are really not meant as a melee unit. Over here, this unit is going to get bogged down in these skinks, and it is worth noting that the chameleon skinks do have poison melee attacks as well, so as these guys try and pull away, they're poisoned, they're bogged down in the skinks, and now here come the reserve of the Empire Spearmen, going to be getting in here for our lizard overlords. You can see Mazdamundi on his toilet seat cackling here at the top of the hill as he unleashes more and more magic. I heard an Arcane Unforging go out. I don't know exactly who that was on. But at this point, it might have been Orion. Yep, looks like the Arcane Unforging on Orion, keeping him from being able to use any of his active abilities. He's dueling Boris here. Boris is not in the best situation. I mean, with his defensive stats and everything, he will definitely take some damage here from Orion. I mean, the regeneration will help, and the debuff here, not the Crush the Weak. The White Cloak of Ulrich will apply. I mean, obviously, Orion's unbreakable, so Crush the Weak will not apply as it is a leadership-specific debuff. A lot of my Zintler's Reichsguard and other Reichsguard being cleaned up a little bit in the back line here. We've been able to get in the chicken coop relatively well, so to speak, to take out a few of these, what are they called? Waywatchers here, but some very nice play. Melkos mystifying Miasma and then immediately pulling away, trying to salvage this unit, and that unit of Reichsguard is going to be off the field, so despite my initial cavalry advantage, a lot of those cavalry have been routed off. You can see most of the Pistoliers are gone at this point as well. Sisters of Thorn having done their job in dealing with them. That being said, we've been able to occupy those Sisters of Thorn for more or less the whole battle and get some good damage done on some important heroic units, so I would definitely call that a win. You can see Orion just being netted, dragged down by Saurus here. He's got the Saurus Old Blood, Empire State Troops, Saurus Warriors, just everything, you know, stacked up against him, down to only 25 hit points. Even Boris Todbringer himself is going to get in here, and Orion, King of the Woods, does fall here, putting a dagger finally in the balanced power in our favor. Up to this point, it had been very, very even, but it's starting to shift more and more in our favor, in Team Ola Skink's favor. So these Temple Guard pushing through, only 34 unit models and relatively low on health, but I mean, they have impeccable leadership with all their chevrons, 118 kills and climbing, so a very nice play there. Another Melkos being dropped on them might take them off the field, and that skirmish fire from the Waywatchers. Those Temple Guard have well paid for themselves by this point. Over here, you can see the Dark Riders just not able to really ever get into an effective position, constantly, you know, being screened out by the Spears, Chameleon Skinks, Javelin Skinks. So all those kind of lower tier units did their job in screening out, what was it, 4 units of the Dark Riders with crossbows. Is a pretty significant investment. I mean, 700 each is, what, 2,800 points in total, so that's a pretty significant investment there that didn't pay off immensely in the end. These two units that we're able to kind of get in a unified backline position with these Waywatchers here can now get into very nice kind of flexible skirmish situation, and you can see Boris Todbringer is going to somewhat fall prey to that here, and a very nice kind of comeback move from our opponents. I don't think it's going to quite be enough at the end of the day here, as they've lost most of their heroic support. The Dreadlord is still alive. The Shadow Sorcerer is still alive, but all the heroic support for the Wood Elves has been lost. There's no healing or anything. So, yeah, you can see Boris is taking an absolute shellacking, though, just getting gunned down here by all these armor-piercing missiles. He is going to go down, despite, despite his regeneration and everything. It's not going to be enough to save him. Even an Apotheosis cast from Lore Master of Sotek trying to keep him on the battlefield, but nope. Boris goes down here, so that's definitely why we brought the build we did, because we were expecting a very heavy missile build. And it ended up working out in our favor. You can see War Dancers just surrounded. The few Temple Guard that are left are somehow still holding on here with some Empire State Troops helping to support, finish off these War Dancers in the late game situation. So, very well played to Gabo and Janet. It was a super fun series. I didn't honestly expect it to go 2-0, you know, but that's just sometimes how things go. And I definitely think that they played very well. The army picks, I think, were a little bit tough. In the first game, I mean, obviously, you guys, if you haven't seen it, definitely go back and watch the first game. It came down to the absolute wire. This one, I feel, was a little bit more in our favor just because of the army picks. Me and Sotek have played with this army composition several times, and we feel that this is probably our strongest. Obviously, Loremaster of Sotek, being a Lizardman fan, is very good with the Lizardmen, very familiar with them, and I think that the Empire is maybe the best complement to the Lizardmen. You can bring your own independent healing if you want. You have access to tons of different lores of magic, you know, whatever you want to bring. You have some really nice different lord selections, and obviously the Empire has one of the best cavalry corps in the game. So, sorry about my voice, guys. I'm still a little bit sick. I'm on the road to recovery, but we're not quite there yet. So I do apologize if my voice sounds a little bit off, but yeah, overall very well played to everyone involved. Let's go ahead and take a look at each army individually. For myself, I mean, not a lot of kills on the Pistoliers, but the value that they were able to get on the Sorceress and the Dreadlord here, as well as on Orion himself, was definitely key, and they kept those Sisters of Thorn occupied and not really able to contribute to that mainline engagement. Likewise, the Spearmen did their job in screening out Dark Riders. Reichsguard, one of them 77 kills is pretty solid. The rest of my heavy cavalry underperformed a little bit. 51 kills on the Grey Wizard, though. This guy definitely was one of the MVPs in my army. For Loremaster of Sotek, 53 kills on Mazda Mundi. Definitely one of the MVPs of the match. 124 on these Temple Guards as well. Did very well. You can see a very elite front line from Sotek here. It definitely paid out for the most part. Chameleon Skinks also being very cost effective in screening out all those Dark Riders and you know, other you know, mobile units like those Lizard Limos and so on. So for Janet, the Way Watchers ended up getting some really nice work done, and the Sisters of Thorn were able to deal with the Pistoliers relatively well. They did let a little bit of damage slip by, but that being said, I mean, it's tough to say, you know, it probably was cost effective and useful for them to deal with those Pistoliers in the end, but it also means that they weren't able to support that frontline engagement as much. I don't know how much of a difference that would have made at the end of the day, but it's, you know, it is something. It's not nothing, certainly. The War Dancers and everything, just the torrent of magic that we unleashed kind of cut through the Elf front line, the Wood Elf front line a little bit here. The Dark Elves, on the other hand, some of the Blackguard doing relatively well, but again, just kind of getting overwhelmed a little bit there. The Dark Riders weren't able to pay out. The Cold One Chariots, on the other hand, did very well. 60 kills, 57, and 118, and an experienced Chevron. So you guys see why I'm a huge fan of these Lizard Limos. They're super cost effective. They have the armor-piercing missiles, good against infantry, just really, really good toolkit units for the Dark Elves. Dreadlord with sword and crossbow, you know, I haven't tried this guy out too much. I might do a little bit of testing with him, but I think, honestly, maybe bringing Marathi or Malekith would have been a better option, but, you know, it's all give and take at the end of the day, so well played to everyone involved. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. Keeping it coming with more Total War Warhammer 2 content every single day, so stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.